Former President Obama said Sunday that he tends to avoid consuming media about politics amidst the testy 2024 election, telling a group of social media influencers that we live in a cynical time. Obama spoke at a Biden campaign fundraiser with the president on Saturday in Los Angeles, telling a select group of TikTok and Instagram creators that he understands the challenges they face avoiding politics in their work. We live in a cynical time, Obama said. Let's face it, I think a lot of the people who watch you, listen to you, who are fans of you, a lot of times they feel turned off by the political discourse. I get it, he continued. I frankly watch sports mostly because it feels like everything is slash and burn. Obama went on to pitch to mostly young progressive content creators on the 81-year-old Biden. Young people have generally been skeptical of Biden due to concerns over his age and disagreements on policy, chiefly his response to the Israel-Hamas war. Joe Biden, you may not agree with everything he does, Obama said. By the way, you didn't agree with everything I did, and that's okay, because in a big, messy, complicated country like this, there are going to be disagreements. But Joe Biden's basic trajectory, what he believes in, his core, he continued, 9 times out of 10, he's going to make decisions that accord with your core beliefs. The Biden campaign has struggled to attract young voters and court progressives, key demographics in swing states in the closest 2024 races. That includes young content creators who can use their platforms to drive voter turnout. Obama encouraged the creators to look past their differences, however, and find common ground. He also urged them to use their platforms to boost the president. I need you guys to use your influence, and it doesn't have to be boring. I don't expect you to have a bunch of charts and graphs, Obama said. I understand folks are swiping or scrolling, and you've got to use humor, and you've got to use other things that are engaging people. Man, where do we start with this? It's always fun to do an Obama story because as one of the leading contenders for the worst former president in American history, I like to just see if he's going to continue to shoot for that position or if he'll actually do something that is important or worth thinking. And I said before, it seems like the only thing he's good for at this point, over 6 years into his retirement, has just been going to fundraisers and trying to boost other candidates. This was the same thing during the 2018 midterm, and this is the same thing during the 2020 election, and now we're having it again. So it just seems like this is really the only ability that he has. But it's interesting where he says, we live in a cynical time, and people who are fans, you feel turned off by the political discourse. Well, if people are turned off by it, to such an extent to where even the former president is like, I don't even watch what's going on most of the time anyway, myself. It's like, wouldn't it hurt their platforms to talk about something that their followers are actively opposed to? Like, if I'm following a football account and they start talking, because Obama said he watches sports, and they start talking about how we need to go out and vote for Biden, there are some people who will see that and just swipe off, like, I'm not interested. But putting that aside, because my favorite part is a little bit further down where he says, Joe Biden, you may not agree with everything he does, Obama said. By the way, he didn't agree with everything I did, and that's okay, because in a big, messy, complicated country like this, there are going to be disagreements. I said, imagine chalking up legitimate grievances with a chief executive, really with any politician, but like, imagine just swiping all of it under the rug by saying we just had disagreements. Like, people tend to forget because it's been some years, and this is how it was with Bush as well. But let's remember some key things about Obama. He jailed journalists 6 times with the Espionage Act. He refused to prosecute the bankers that crashed the economy during the subprime mortgage crisis. His Treasury Secretary kicked people out of their homes. He bombed Syria so much he ran out of bombs. He got the U.S. involved in, at the time, the worst humanitarian crisis in the world, in Yemen. I mean, these are not, in my opinion, and in the opinion of many progressives who covered that, him during that era, minor things or just disagreements. This is stuff where it's like, I'm not going to go and vote for the Republican who's probably going to do a lot of the same garbage, but I'm also not enthused to go and support you. And while he might try to downplay, because he doesn't mention any specific, that's why I said I don't like when he talks, because it's all like designed around how can I address something without actually addressing it. He doesn't mention what specific problems young people may have with Biden, whether that's student loan debt or in this case the Israel-Hamas conflict. And in doing that, he tries to minimize his friend's lack of ability to address these issues while also trying to implore people who are disenfranchised with him to go out and use their platforms to boost him. And the thing that these Democrats don't want to ever acknowledge is that young people, and really no one, owes you their vote. When you want someone's vote, you have to go out and get it. You have to go campaign. You have to do things that appeal to them. And if you don't, you're going to lose, like Hillary did in 2016, where she didn't go to Wisconsin and the various other swing states. Now, if he were actually saying something that was worth listening to, he would tell these young people, hey, listen, the Israeli-Hamas conflict is another piece of a very long issue that has gone on for decades, stretching back 70, 80 years. And Biden's response to it is attempting to get both sides to come to some agreement to end it without causing any further bloodshed or otherwise, supporting a ceasefire. And of course we would still have problems with that response, at least on Obama's part, and even of course on the actual incumbent president's part. But at least he would be acknowledging what one of the key issues that young people have for Biden is. Instead, we're just told, oh, it's you just have some disagreements, and that's okay because we're allowed to have disagreements. And I love the this part's funny too. Where is it? Let me scroll down. Oh, but Joe Biden's basic trajectory, what he believes in his core, 9 times out of 10, he's going to make decisions that accord with your core beliefs. Well, let's just pretend 9 times out of 10 is true, even though some of us are. I mean, there's a lot of like just stuff we get into disagreements on. For a lot of people, that 1 out of 10, which is the Israeli-Hamas conflict or student loan debt or even climate change, because Biden did abandon the Green New Deal, that 1 out of 10 is very important. I could say that Obama's 1 out of 10 was very important for me, even though I already said before, if we actually sit here and go through issue by issue, you can go over multiple ways in which he disgusted people who called themselves left-leaning. Like, even though Trump is known as the anti-immigration president, with his whole border wall thing, Obama deported more illegal immigrants than any American president in U.S. history. It was like a total of, I think, over 2 million, and it was like 400,000 every year for the entire 8 years he was in office. If we're talking about abortion rights, he failed to codify Roe v. Wade even when he had a supermajority during his first 2 years as president. So there's a litany of stuff we can get into of just his failures as a chief executive, and I try to not mention that because it's like, again, I'd rather save that for some big video on him. But I'm just trying to get you to understand, even when you agree with these people to a basic extent on an issue, they can still find a way to fail and do nothing to actually advance that topic whatsoever. And even if people, again, agree with Biden on something, if he doesn't address it as thoroughly as they think he should, and it's not up to, Congress stopping him from doing it, they're going to feel as though he has been unwilling and unsuccessful in addressing that problem, and thus not be interested in getting 4 more years of him. So I feel bad for those social media influencers. You get to talk to a former president, supposedly one of the smartest people, right, to ever hold that office, and he tells you, oh yeah, I don't even watch this stuff anymore. I'm watching sports mostly, which I can believe. That's one of the few things he says that's probably honest. And I know you guys have problems with Biden, right? But that's okay. We have disagreements. You can't afford your house if gas prices are going through the roof, which I'll whatever. We'll leave that to the different executives of each state. But my point is that it's sad to watch all, like, some of these young people, some of these influencers actually know about policy, and That's why they don't fall for nice, shiny Obama coming out of retirement to boost up his ailing friend, both in terms of age and in terms of poll numbers. And so when if they lose this election, just know that it's going to be the what is that uh, a second out of two times where Obama tried to help a friend in a presidential election didn't work out too well. He's this has been one of the core things about him. He's really good, or was really good at campaigning for himself, but when it comes to other people, it's hit or miss. And more often than not, it misses. And this is one of the reasons.